podcasts are best without shoes on. That's a little known secret.
Don't tell anyone.
And you sure you don't want anything to drink? Water, wine,
I'll take
beer?
some water.
Water?
Would be good, sure.
We can make that happen. We can make that happen.
Great.
Will you say a few words for me?
Yes, I will.
Hi, I'm Matt. I'm the founder of VRMB and the host of the Vacation Rental Show. And this is season 4 of Unlocked, the Tiny Architects edition, in which we travel to meet the world's most innovative vacation rental professionals in their element and find out what makes them so special. This is Unlocked.
Now, you were born in New Jersey, right?
Yeah.
I was too.
Get out.
Oh, we have a Jersey connection. I like
Where?
that. Plainfield. It was a drive-by birth. My dad was transferred with GE, so I was born. 12 minutes later, we moved to Florida.
Drive-by
That's my
birth.
story, but I'm still a Jersey gal. I'm going to take it.
Once
I
a
go.
Jersey
Oh,
person, always
thank
a
you.
Jersey.
You understand. People go, oh, you moved right out. You're not a Jersey. Yes, I am.
Plainsboro?
Plainfield.
I don't know where that is.
Me neither. I've been to Jersey 3 times. Atlantic City every time.
I'm from Central Jersey, a little town called Princeton.
Yes, I know.
Where the
I read about
university
you.
is. Yeah, you read about
You need to do a podcast.
That is.
We need to interview you.
Okay.
They want to know.
Who's they?
Everyone. I mean this.
What do they want to know?
Who's Matt Landau? What'd you study in college?
Economics?
Excellent. Any marketing anywhere along the way?
No, actually.
You are a marketing genius.
I taught
You've
myself.
marketed yourself into, so have I. See? So many things in common. Yeah, so when is the Matt Landau podcast? We have to do it.
Oh, so I'm
Has to happen.
about to tell you. Tuesday. So, Sean Miller. Do you know Sean? Point Central?
Yes, but not personally.
Okay.
Just, that's Sean.
They're the sponsor of the podcast. And we thought it would be cool this year for the intermission, which is the commercial in the middle of the podcast, for Sean to interview me, and for each question and answer to become the intermission of each episode. Each episode will have a totally different intermission.
I love this idea. I told you yesterday, you need to do a podcast on yourself because everybody wants to know.
So
Well, who are you?
Last night I
What do you do?
interviewed
How'd you get
Amy
here?
High Note.
Oh, love.
And the only way I could convince her to do the podcast, because she had been avoiding me now for like plenty of time, was to say that she could also interview me. It would be like a back and forth. I ask a
love
question,
it.
then she asks a question, then I ask a question, then she asks a question. And so she
Oh my
arrives with
gosh.
this big long list, and that was when I had to break it to her that we didn't have enough time. I was just going to be doing the interviewing. So she's got a long list of questions.
Amy and I are founders of the I Like You and You Like Me movement.
I got my pin.
You did? I haven't got my pin yet.
Yeah.
I haven't seen her since Spins came in. Yes, this is. She was looking for advice, and at the women's conference, Elizabeth Gilver had said that, and I've been rolling that hamster wheel in my mind since February, and it works. It really works.
I like you, you like me.
That's right.
That's where we're starting out this conversation.
Okay. I do like you.
Yeah, vice versa.
Thank God I don't have to lie about it. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I will try not to joke like I normally.
No, you
I
should
joke
joke
too
as
much.
much as you
I
want.
use humor to get through my name, Frankenstein. You know.
I would like to start off with a little bit about yourself. I would then like to move into how you found yourself in the vacation rental industry. And then I would really want to focus like the real meat and potatoes about how you built this amazing business. One of my favorite moments of yesterday was your comment about industry, that the word industry is no good.
No, it's cold. It's commercial. We are community. We're residential, and we're making memories and families and.
And we are a movement.
Absolutely.
You know
I
another
think so.
phrase that I don't like that I would like to include in your editing of our vocabulary? Property manager. It's the
Yeah.
worst term.
How about PMS? Property management software.
Equally terrible.
That's awful.
Okay, can we just start a whole new dictionary that are words that you're not permitted to mention?
Well,
as a
when I
vacation
do a freshen
professional?
up clean, it's an FU. And now I like that because I like the reference.
I used to introduce myself as Matt Landau, the fearless marketing leader, and every now and then I would say, Matt Landau, FML.
Okay.
You ever heard that acronym?
Well, for female?
No.
FML? No. Oh,
F my life.
oh my gosh.
Okay.
Okay.
So that's just a nice
Yes.
way to start this podcast because we're officially
All right. We're
recording
not
now.
taping, right?
Yeah, we are.
Good.
We're live. Welcome. Hello.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm fantastic.
Who are you?
I am Jennifer Frankenstein-Harris. I own Great Ocean Condos and homes in New Smyrna Beach, Florida.
New Smyrna. I don't know where that is.
20 minutes south of Daytona.
Okay.
A nice old Florida, foodie, trendy beach town
Okay, so sounds like something
with
I would
only
like.
2 hotels.
Oh.
So it's a fantastic area.
Does that mean the majority of lodging options are vacation rentals?
Absolutely.
Wow. And that's probably lots of them. It sounds like a tourist destination.
It's actually a small island. We're only about 11 miles. We have a national seashore, so it's not a big area, but it is Orlando's best beach. So it's the drive market for Central Florida.
And your company represents how many properties in this region?
As of today, 260.
That's a lot of properties.
I pinch myself. I can't believe it. I started with mine, 1.
And how long did it take you to get to 260?
Well, I started in 2008, so 11 years.
And was it slow and steady, or was it like fast?
It was about 120 properties within 5 years. And then in a 2-year span right after that, we were able to change up some marketing, change up our website, and grew pretty quickly to 220 properties. So that 2 years we built up 100 properties, and then now we're very picky about who we accept, and we don't accept every property now.
You've earned that, right?
We have, but there's a market for every property, so we try to help owners as much as possible. If they don't want the help, then we can't help them. You have to want help. So,
And in the scope of professional vacation rental managers, 260 properties, you seem to have found something of a sweet spot. You're happy with the amount. Maybe you handpick some nice new ones to bring on. Maybe you remove some of your worst performing properties every now and then.
we did. We were at 300, and we decided to take the properties where maybe owners were not listening to our advice on how we could do things better for them, and they were steadfast on things that didn't match our company culture. And so we decided to scale back and make it their idea. We're so sorry that we couldn't meet the expectation
Accommodate
that you
your
had set.
needs,
And-
yeah.
Right. And we actually, that first year that it happened, every reservationist got to pick those 3 or 4 owners. And my retention of employees went up.
Right, because for the first time they're actually able to voice their worst.
Right. They had skin in the game and power, and our revenue went up. So 40 properties down, revenue up about 7%, which I thought was good because we were expecting a small drop.
How would the
We didn't.
revenue have gone up?
That time we were spending focusing on those 40 properties that just weren't going to come along with our culture, we instead put into building relationships with our guests, building relationships with the owners that we had, so they would trust us to put more money into their property or change things that we asked them to change. That small percentage of owners that are taking up that huge amount of time, you have no idea how much time that is and how much energy is
How much
sucked
it's
out of
costing
you.
you.
It's costing you so much.
Wow. This is actually a pretty mind-blowing piece of wisdom you just dropped on me in the first 5 minutes. And I'd like to come back to it in a moment.
Absolutely.
First, I'd like to welcome you to my apartment.
Thank you. I love your apartment. This is nice.
Describe what we're looking at right now for those who are not here.
Well, the windows are beautiful. I'm looking out onto a nice, beautiful street. It's almost like brownstones down the street,
Yeah.
and not too noisy. But you're in. How do we say it? Is it Nolans?
Yeah, we are
Okay.
indeed in Nolans. I'm looking at one very hairy man and one attractive young woman.
Yes, I am. Yes, I am.
This is Stuart and Tammy. These are the magicians behind everything that I produce from a media perspective. And what are you doing in town other than, of course, this podcast interview?
We are here for the International Vacation Rental Management Conference.
Which is huge this year.
It's huge. We're going to probably pass for the first time ever 2,000 attendees. We were at 1909 this morning, and I think we're gonna make it past.
And 1909, that was a good year. You say we. Do you consider yourself part of this organization?
Everything I am is this organization, honestly. They helped me learn the vacation rental business and educated me on things I needed to know. And I have given back. I serve on the education committee. I serve on the government affairs committee. And recently just ended my term as president of the Florida Vacation Rental Managers.
So there's independent groups? I didn't know that.
There are, not every state,
Okay.
but some of the larger destination states do have their own area VRMAs.
So you've been involved now since when? 2010?
About 2010.
Okay. Because I was reading up a little bit about you too, just so
Oh,
you
you
know.
were?
Yeah, it's not
Okay.
just you who gets to read up on me.
I did read up on you.
We're both from New Jersey.
I love
We're
that,
both just extraordinarily cool.
obviously.
VRMA this year is going to cross 2,000 people. And share very briefly what we did yesterday for those who were not there in that room in Auction House. What did we do from a very high level? I'm curious for your description because it was complicated.
Yes, it was. We have a very large contingency of people in our organization who advocate for property rights, and I'm one of those people. Your property is the one thing you own in life. From the very beginning of time, when they were on horseback, riding across the land, sticking their flag in the ground, this is their property. And as a basic right of an American or a human being, you should be able to use your property in a way that benefits you. Today you may live there, but tomorrow you may be in a situation where you need to rent out a room, or you may need to rent out your whole home. And if that happens, the government should not step in and say, you can't do that, because it's the one thing you're going to own. So we got those people together in a room. I think there were 20 of us, notably 4 women and 16 men. Very, very strong about women and their role in our organization and what they do.
Agreed. I think for the next one, we need to invert that
Absolutely.
in order to balance things
You
out.
have very passionate people out there who are just don't know what to do or how to do it. And so this group was really getting together to say, what do we need to do? How do we do that? Let's put together a blueprint, a playbook. Let's get our messaging straight. Let's communicate what we need and what we're doing properly, which is a very, very needed aspect of this entire organization.
My mother always reminds me in order to make sure that the people that we are interviewing for the podcast, the people we're featuring on the show, people that are attending special events, that there needs to be a representation of the group, and I think that's a big thing we can improve next event.
It's hard to find. It really
But
is.
it doesn't mean that
But it's
can't be
not.
done.
It's attainable.
Yes.
If you strive to attain it.
Yes.
But you first have to recognize that you need to attain it.
Yeah.
So I think this year more than ever that is happening in the VRMA,
Yeah.
and I think it's beautiful.
Frankenstein.
Frankenstein, like the doctor.
Why did I say Frankenstein? Where does that name come from?
My first husband.
Okay. And
Germany.
okay, originally from Germany.
Yes.
And that's quite a name to take on. What was your
Absolutely.
original last name?
Scott.
Oh, you went from Scott to Frankenstein. You must have really liked this guy.
Frankenstein.
Oh, so why do I keep saying
Matt,
that?
you have to get this. It's
The
Stein
Frankensteins,
like a beer mug.
The
Would that help?
Frankensteins, that was the
Stein.
Jewish deli down the street.
Love it.
You must have really liked this guy to take his name.
Absolutely. Frankenstein. Now, I am married. His last name is Harris. And I just could not give up Frankenstein.
Because it had become part of your
Well,
identity?
people know me,
Uh-huh.
yes. And I love it. And it's my kid's last name. And it's interesting and it's a starter. But people will not forget you. So that impression that you leave must be one of joy, kindness.
Uniqueness.
Absolutely.
Scott Frankenstein-Harris. That was the order. Okay.
Yes.
Cool. And where are you from originally?
Well, I was born in Jersey. My parents were in Vermont, and my entire family's in Vermont. I have a home in Vermont. And my dad got transferred in the late 60s with General Electric to Plainfield, New Jersey. So he worked there. I was born. 12 minutes later, we moved to Florida. West Palm Beach, she was transferred. So,
Why 12 minutes?
well, that's just my story. 12 minutes later.
I'm
I
just
mean, it was so
envisioning,
quick.
Like this baby, quick, get her out.
People say, you're not a Jersey girl. Absolutely, I am. I was born in Jersey. Don't take that from me. But I grew up in West Palm Beach, North Lauderdale area, ended up at Florida State University, studied music education, always wanted to be a teacher.
Specifically a music teacher?
Yes, wanted to be a band director. Wanted to teach middle school kids how to play instruments.
That was your vision.
I was 12 when I made that decision.
Whoa.
And I clearly remember it. I did a project for my civics class. Couldn't wait to become a band director. That's what I wanted to do, and I did it.
So, like, when you were in your room by yourself as a kid, you're like a lot of kids are like recreating sports plays or acting. You're actually
Practicing my flute.
conducting.
I'm practicing my flute. I'm trying to become the best flute player I can to get a scholarship to college, of course.
Did you?
Absolutely.
You got a flute scholarship?
I did.
I've never met anyone who got a flute scholarship. That's amazing.
Here you have it.
And that means you were probably pretty good.
I was okay. Yeah.
Was it a music-specific school?
Florida State University has the best music school in the Southeast.
Okay.
So it was the obvious place to go. But really what I did was went to several colleges, played my flute, and went to where the scholarship came.
Oh,
And
interesting.
that
So you
was-
kind of played the
I did.
field with it.
I did. I got a big one from University of Miami, but it was a private institution, and it was still extremely expensive. So we grew up not having money at all. So the scholarship was necessary.
And from there, did you become this dream job music teacher?
I did. I interned with the band director in Orlando, John Gorecki, and he was amazing, taught me everything I know.
What was the biggest thing he taught you?
Really just from the beginning how to nurture a child into making music a very important part of their life. Music saved me when I was a kid, and music saves a lot of kids, especially being part of a band program and a group of people and a family. It's just can't be replaced.
And is the key to that, from an educational standpoint, providing the tool, the instrument, and classes? Or is it like merely
Yes.
making access to music? Or?
I had 7 instrumental band classes that I taught a day. I had no planning period, and I taught a class before school. So I had 350 kids in my program, and we were playing college level music, and we were recognized around the state as one of the premier band programs. I loved these kids. I look at these kids and what they're doing now and just
You stay in touch
love
with them?
these kids.
You stay in touch with these kids?
Absolutely. Facebook. Of course I
Wow.
could stay in touch with these kids.
How cool.
I know, it's fantastic.
Are most of them still doing music-related things, or?
They're a variety of everything. I mean, I have some kids who are band directors now and are doing, their dream job, and I have kids who are analysts for the Magic. I have kids who are engineers and doctors.
What was the
Everything.
Magic?
The Magic.
What's that?
The Magic. The Orlando Magic
Oh,
basketball
the
team.
Orlando Magic.
Hello.
Okay. I don't know. I'm envisioning like Magic. So all these alumni of yours are now doing amazing things. You helped them use music to find their place.
Absolutely. I think it's just a different part of the brain and a different type of environment, and whatever they explored after that, I mean, it's a real discipline. It's not, you can't, practice doesn't make perfect. Perfect practice makes perfect. Because if you practice wrong forever, you're still going to be wrong.
You can be really good at being wrong.
That concept is a life concept. It's not a band concept.
Can you say that one more time? Perfect practice makes
Practice does not make perfect. Perfect practice makes perfect.
I like that.
And my across the top of my room, it always said, the student who is never asked to do what they cannot do will never do what they can do. So the expectation was always very high, and we would exceed what we could do to try to reach it. And sometimes we'd reach it, but exceeding what you can do or what you think you can do is magical. It's just magical.
Well put. While we're on the subject of quotes that have to do with music, one of my favorites that I use for my presentations is a Charlie Parker quote. It is, master the instrument, master the music, then forget all that shit and just play. Which I love. I love to
like
practice.
a jazzer.
I love to obsess over my practicing, and then I just try to forget it all and just cruise.
Love it.
But at one point, you stopped becoming a professional music teacher.
Yes.
What was the point?
I had a child. Robert. I was 31, so I had kind of had this career here for 9 years, and I didn't even tell anybody I was pregnant. I thought people are going to come after my program, right? Because they all want to be, in that great program. So I was like hiding. Oh, yes. Oh,
What do you mean, like people are going to take your place?
Oh, of course. Somebody has to take my place. I'm going to be gone for 3 months.
Oh, so
right?
they would have been literally like...
Sure. So my principal let me pick someone to come, which was wonderful. But by that time, we needed an assistant, so we needed another director. And so I had Robert. I looked at this child and said, this is the job that God really meant me to have, to be this child's mother. I don't think I can leave him to go back to the classroom. I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe I felt that way. I just didn't think I could go back and teach because I wanted to be with him. So my principal created a position for me, 3 classes a morning. I would just come in, teach the 3 classes. She found a parent at the school who had a nanny, and she talked to them about letting me drop my child off at the nanny, go teach classes, and go back and get him 2 blocks from the school.
These
I
people
loved
must
this
have
woman.
really liked you.
I was blessed. That's all I can say. I was blessed, and it worked. So I did that for 4 years, and then I had Kate. And that was it. I couldn't send, Robert was ready to leave for kindergarten. I just had Kate. There is no reason to send Robert to kindergarten. I'm a teacher and I'm home. So I homeschooled for 7 years.
Wow.
While I started the business and built it.
What? Wait. Started what business?
Great Ocean Condos.
Oh, this is when that enters the scene?
Yes.
Whoa.
This is Sean Miller, the president of Point Central. As a sponsor of the podcast, and also as a person who recently beat Matt in a one-on-one basketball game, we have the opportunity to interview Matt in this season's podcast. Well, we're going to save the full interview for the end of the season. Right now, we're going to share a small tidbit with you. Enjoy. We are seeing larger entities form through consolidation. We're seeing large entities start to look in this space and figure out how they partner or become part of this space. As some vacation home managers sometimes, again, may panic or get nervous about that. What do you think is the key thing to remember with all this money and interest flying around the industry?
So you can either spend your time freaking out about it and trying to control the uncontrollable and trying to stop the inevitable. The metaphor that we used in the previous seasons of the podcast is that there's a parade coming through town. You can either join in or you can sit on the sidelines, but you are not stopping it.
Mm-hmm.
So I think trying to stop it is a highly stressful and the least strategic way of doing it. The other way of doing it is looking at what you can control from within you. I always like to give a shout out to my yoga instructor. He says you have everything you need within you to change. And if we focus on the things that we do have within us, that goes for our marketing, that goes for the way that we treat every guest, that goes for our employees that we work with, that goes with really everything under the umbrella of our vacation rental businesses, so long as we are operating in a legal and regulated environment. When you start focusing on those things, the other stuff gets way less stressful. I've noticed managers who are really confident and organized don't really react when they hear these sorts of announcements or huge consolidation news. It's not to say that they don't adapt to it. I mean, there's instances in which your software might have gotten sold to someone else and you're not willing to deal with the new terms. But they adapt and they say, okay, it's time to move on, find a new property management software to work with. Adapting to that change is so cliche, it almost makes my brain just shut off hearing those words. But if you are moving forward constantly, you have a place in the future. All right, enough interviewing me. If you want to learn more about Point Central, head over to pointcentral.com/VRMB. You can sign up for a free demo, you get free HVAC analytics, and Sean's team takes incredibly good care of people. Now let's get back to the show.
I was teaching kindergarten at one end, fourth grade on the other end. I was in the middle with my laptop, taking reservations, telling people why they should have me manage their property.
Wait. But you don't start taking reservations until you somehow come in touch with a vacation property.
I was the first property, my property. So that's, I guess, a big part of the story. So we bought a property right on the ocean. What a dream come true, right? Because I'm a teacher. My then husband was a principal. We, didn't have a lot, but this is making memories, right? We grew up on the ocean. So we bought a property, and just 6 weeks later, my dad passed away very unexpectedly. It was shocking. And he left our family home in Vermont that I had been in my family for 100 years to me. And I thought, what am I going to do? How am I going to, I have no job, right? I was teaching flute lessons on the side, but that was just a little thing to dabble in. I have my condo on the beach now, and I have a house that I live in. There's no way that financially I could afford that, which is part of why this property rights thing really bothers me. Who has the right to tell me that I'm now in a situation where I need to rent my property, and you're telling me I can't do that? Well, I'm going to either be foreclosed on, or I'm going to lose our family home, or, what's the alternative in that? So as I started reaching out to managers at that time in New Smyrna Beach, there were not technology forward managers. There was not a credit card option for taking a reservation. My complex asked me for pictures of my condo, pictures, 4x6 prints,
Right.
so that people walking in off the street could see how nice my condo was, so that they would rent it. And I thought, is this for real? And they didn't really know how to treat people.
Did they have a photo album?
Yes, they did. It's shocking. It's shocking. They didn't have a website.
What year was that?
This was 2007.
What? I thought you were going to say 1984.
No, this is an old Florida beach town. It's not that way anymore. I am so proud of our community of managers who have taken short-term rentals and just made them beautiful, wonderful vacations for families coming to New Smyrna. It's wonderful. I want to say we pioneered this
Hell
out
yeah.
of necessity.
Yeah, you did.
That was the start of, going to my complex and serving on the rental committee, trying to make the board understand that we needed a website, that we needed to take credit cards, that even if we put a little sign out front that said vacation rentals available, could we do that? Well, those people on the board lived there. They didn't really want families in their pool. So they weren't too keen on my ideas, and I was in a pinch. I had to get my property rented. There wasn't a choice here. So I set myself up on VRBO, and there was no Airbnb then. So vacationrentals.com, that was around. I set myself up there. And I just remember the morning getting up and saying, I'm not going to bed tonight until my listing is complete. So of course I had to do research. I had to look at other listings. I had to see what other people were charging. I had to see how the photos looked. I had to learn how to upload photos on my computer. I did not know how to do this. But I did it. I did it that day. I got it on site. Within that next year, I doubled my income. It went from $13,000 a year to $26,000 a year. And people in the complex were just shocked. And so they asked me for help.
Now, because I'm guessing this is the beginning of your vacation rental growth trajectory.
Yes.
Before we get into that, I'm curious. You said other people in the complex didn't want random guests jumping in their pool.
Well, think about this. It's an 85-unit complex, and 7 people live there full time. 10 people maybe, they don't rent their property out, but the entire rest of the building rents out their property for short-term rental. Well, the board in a lot of these COAs, condominium associations, they make up the people who live there. And so the people who live there can really guide and direct the entire property.
And did you understand their viewpoint? I mean, your case that you've made to me earlier about the right of an individual to own a property in this country and to do with it what they wish, does that same person also have the right to peace and quiet and access to their own pool without strangers jumping into it?
That same person bought a place to live in a rental community. So they understand that they purchased the right to be in a rental community with, I don't call them renters. That is one of my least favorite words.
We'll add that to our list.
They are guests. They're our guests on a vacation that we want to make memorable and wonderful and enjoyable. So yes, they didn't want those renters there, but I wanted to bring our guests there. And fast forward, because now I manage that whole complex.
Oh.
Yes, that started 3 years ago. It did take me 8 years to convince them that this was the way to go.
But so you're managing your own property in that one complex. You double your income. You catch the bug, which I think almost everybody enters the industry kind of casually, and then it's like, oh my gosh, I can make money, and I'm really good at it, and I love it.
And I love people.
And I love
these
people.
are vacations
Yeah.
on the beach.
I'm going into this. What was your move? What was your next leap?
The website, Great Ocean Condos, deciding the name, which just came really quickly. It's not the best name. Great Ocean Condos, that means I can't take anything that's not great.
Hey, you're looking at the host of Vacation Rental Show. So it's all about bluntness sometimes.
Right. And I have homes, and I'm Great Ocean Condos, so now I had to, Great Ocean Homes, I had to start a new website and take
Logo?
on homes. One logo for both.
Okay. And you put a little effort into this website, nice photos, descriptions, the ability to book online, maybe?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
Well, we had to find a property management software.
What did you go with?
Rental network software, RNS,
Okay.
and they're the pioneers. They've been around for a long time. They've been very good for us. Very good
And
for
are you
us.
still using them?
I'm still using them. I'm one of the managers that is not JumpShip Software company. They change all the time. Changing is the biggest pain.
And so is the lesson here be okay with riding out some of the discomfort or pains in favor of not having to switch?
I don't know the answer for that. Answer for me is going to be different for everybody.
Agreed.
That answer for me is that we are doing very well on that software, and we use that software in ways that really make our company click and work. And I think we are in the top of our field in what we're doing there, because we have written processes and tech notes and made the software into what makes us money and makes us profitable and makes our owners money and profitable.
And this, by the way, is a great tip for people who are using a new booking software. Those providers are desperate for your feedback. In a lot of cases, you are their best asset in terms of providing insight, the kinds of things that you need, what's working, what's not working. And if you're the user side of it, sometimes that can benefit you too. They can build that functionality into the tool itself.
Right? We did a lot of that. First 5 years of business, we would drop, hey, it would be really nice if we could get this, and we can really do this. And they would listen very intently and package things up, and we'd have software updates, and we would say, yes, this is fantastic.
And so I'm guessing nice. When you take on a software like that, you have intention to grow. You're not going to be staying at one property.
Listen, like I said, I still pinch myself. I remember my VRMA conference in Orlando when I walked into a session and they said, okay, so we're going to do small companies on the left and big companies on the right. So if you have 0 to 100 properties, you're going to be on the left. And if you have more than 100, you're going to be on the right. And I was like, I'm on the right. I can't believe it. I'm on the right. And so I ran to the right as fast as I could. But I don't know if the intention was always there, but it happened, and it's wonderful. And we signed up 6 properties in the last 2 weeks. This is the time of year where we do a lot of marketing. This is where it's low season where we're at, and we go to homeowners and have referral programs and do direct mail and bring on new properties. So when did you start growing it? I think we really started growing probably year number 4.
Okay. And fast forward to now, how many years have you been in business?
12.
So a good 8 years. later, you're at 260. That's an incredible achievement, by the way. I just think it's worth stepping back and recognizing that.
I can't believe it.
Sometimes I pinch myself.
I do. You do too, Matt? That's another thing we have in common. This is fantastic.
Well, I pinch myself once every morning just to remind
But,
myself.
but to everybody who's starting this business and thinking about this business, let's talk about the real hard truth. My first paycheck came on month 26, and it was $5,000. Every penny that was earned in that company from the day we started until month 26 went back into the company, whether it was website or a better camera or Google AdWords when we started that and people were clicking and it was spending my money every time they clicked. And I thought, but you had to grow, you had to do that. Whether it was like the nicer keychains. Yes, we still have keys to our properties, so we didn't buy, the cheapest thing. We made things nicer than maybe they needed to be. But all of these things went into making the company what it is today. They were good decisions.
Is that to say that people who are expecting a quick return are in for a rude awakening?
I want to meet those people. I want to know how they did it because I didn't. And
Or the people who are starting today and thinking to themselves, this industry is easy, quick cash.
it's not. I think it's hard work. I think it's one of the hardest. There are so many aspects that people don't think about. You cannot be good at one thing. And education. I love teaching. I love learning. It's the cornerstone of, everything I thought of and stood for in my life. So VRMA was my way to go. That's where I got educated. That's where I got smart about things. So if you do it right, if there is a quick, fast cash way, I want that session to be taught because I'll go to it.
In this sort of growth period, I'm guessing you had lots of guests, good and bad. Tell me about your craziest guest.
I can't do this.
Don't have to give any names.
Listen, I will be honest. My staff came to me almost a year ago and they said, we're not going to let you talk to guests anymore. Or owners. We don't want you to talk to them anymore.
What happens when you talk to them?
Well, because I very honestly tell them that what they're thinking or saying is absolutely crazy and that we cannot do that. And so it created, situations where the staff had to clean them up because they're my customer service people. And so there comes a time where you're just like, okay, enough's enough. All right. Granny's 60-year-old couch is going. I know you love the floral pattern. It's going. And you can't say that nicely. I don't know. So,
but you have to
craziest
say
guest,
right?
You can't. I can say things you can't include. I love my guests. My guests are the cornerstone of my business.
Most memorable guest incident.
Well, I can't say that either. There's a lot of beds broken on vacation. I will say that.
We'll just leave it at that.
We'll leave it at that. And you know what? I just think I hope they had a wonderful vacation. We'll put new slats in the bed and we'll beef it up with a 2x4. Yes.
We create memories.
We created memories. Are you really going to include this, Matt?
This is a subject of our industry that we don't have to talk about very often.
It's when you get away from home, you do what vacationers do. So.
What would you say was the biggest lesson that you learned the hard way in this growth? Biggest thing in hindsight that was maybe the most painful lesson to go through?
Well, this is one of the highlights of my career is this session we did in Charlotte, and I was on a panel, and it was called Lessons Learned the Hard Way. And we had 8 topics, and we got to say our hardest learned lesson of those 8 topics. And on that panel was Jody, our VRMA president, and Steve Milo. And I don't know how I got asked to be on that session, but we were talking about the things we learned the hard way. So in the entire business as a whole, I think if I had to go back and do it again, I would not have been so eager to just take on as many properties as I can. Because at first we would take on a property even if it wasn't great. And we were Great Ocean Condos. And that's, you're creating your brand right from the beginning. I mean, I just had the mentality that if it was clean and everything worked, it was good to go.
But don't you need a certain critical mass of properties to be even recognized at the beginning?
Well, you could be recognized in a way that, wow, there's a vacation rental manager in town who's providing experience, relationships, vacations, good service. I'd rather be recognized for that than the property manager in town who has 260 properties.
Yeah, good point. Really good point.
So word of mouth is, this is a company that takes care of you. So then it resulted in, we're now at a point where we're going to go ahead and release 40 owners from our
into the wild.
Into the wild.
from our private.
And it's fun because when we get together for our gatherings as vacation rental managers in town, we talk about, oh, did you get him? Oh, you got him? That's great. And they're like, oh, was he with you? Yes, he was with me.
But you know what? Like you said it earlier, it's not a linear, like that. They may be a better fit for one another. That guy and
Absolutely.
the other person. Like the other person might specialize in a different kind of property or be able to work with that kind of person.
Right. And this is an educational thing. Everything should be a positive. It takes 10 positives to overcome one negative. So when we release an owner, we really want it to be their idea. We really want it to be because we've tried everything and we think that there's a better fit for you that we just couldn't fit. And we feel terrible about it because we want to fit every single person's idea. But, this is a second home is a dream come true for everybody, right? I mean, we grew up in our home, and I mean, to think that like I have the resources to buy a second home and share it with people, it's very personal. So if you call my company today and you asked whoever answered the phone, how many properties do you manage? Our company culture is that we manage one, the property of the person on the phone I am talking to. And what do you need from me? How can I help you?
Wow.
So
that would actually happen if I called?
do you want to try it?
Yeah.
Well, my entire staff is here, so
They're going to answer the phone,
We've got
though.
our backup people, though.
Can we try?
Do you really want to?
Yeah, and if it doesn't work, we'll cut it.
No.
Okay.
No, I brought my 7 best staff members here, so I'm wondering, well, who's working tonight? Let me check the schedule.
I'm
What
doing
would
it
they
after
say?
you leave. I'm going to do it and prove you're right.
Can I just take a bathroom break with my cell phone real quick?
Yes, of course.
No, but that is the idea. The idea is that this property that you have is, we understand how personal it is to you. It can't just be another one of your portfolio. It has to be, this is something this person worked for their entire life. And so what does that do? Some owners feel entitled. Some owners feel like you work for them and this is your job and you need to do. Some owners feel like it's a partnership and you want to be relational, which is what we try to do as much as possible.
Do you think this is a good best practice for all managers to look at their property management portfolio and consider releasing some properties every year?
It was for me. I mean, I can say that. And it made my staff very happy. We all have owners that it's very hard to work for. And I hope that I'm never one of those owners. But again, it's personal, it's relational. You don't know how they got there to that property, what it means to them, what part of their investment portfolio it is, if the husband or wife just lost their job. There's so many aspects of it that you have to treat it like it's the only one that you manage.
And you have, for me, a really unique perspective in that you've built your business from the ground up, but you're also in this educational role and you're attending industry conferences all the time. You know what worked for you. What are the characteristics that you're noticing about the managers who are really thriving in this moment in our industry that I think a lot of people would characterize as very chaotic and fast-paced and lots of change? What are the common denominators of those who are really thriving?
Creative marketing is big. Just getting your name out there in as many ways as you can. In business, you have to do what you say you're going to do. So that's just a basic fundamental, people talk about, the younger generations and, they're always on their phone and they're so technology kind of rules them, and abiding by your word and what you say you're going to do as a manager or say as a business owner or as a person is something we might be losing, right? In generations coming up. So doing what you say you're going to do is paramount.
What is the common denominator attitude about change?
Change is hard. 3 of my favorite words. Change is hard.
Accepting it, that statement.
Well, we've gone through a lot of change. And I mean, there's been some panic here and there, but look, we're all still here and thriving and growing. So change is good also. You're not going to grow if you stay stagnant. So change is a necessary evil of the business that we're in.
And when you start to think about the future of the industry, what do you wish for it?
The future of our community?
Of our community. I used one of the no words.
I am not an industry person, as you know, for the reasons I described.
Yes.
Industry is cold and commercial, and community is warm and fuzzy and vacation-like and welcoming and inclusive.
Yes.
I want you in my community.
Yes.
The future of our community, right? Everybody asks that. What's the future? Let me get out my crystal ball. This is like an owner who says, how much money are you going to make me? Well, I don't have a crystal ball, but I think it's going to continue to change and evolve. And I think it's going to continue to grow. And I will tell you, this morning I had my first VRMA board meeting. I was elected to the board. Yeah. And I sat in that room with those people and thought, what a great, amazing team of people that are leading this organization. I really did. Again, I pinched myself and I thought, the care and the love and the thoughtfulness that goes in to how we educate our members, how we advocate for property rights, how we take a strategic plan and grow it into, okay, we're not okay with where we are, right? The student who's never asked to do what they cannot do will never do what they can. We've grown exponentially over the last several years with our new management company, Smith & Buckland, and we're going to continue to grow. They're not okay with just saying, oh, wow, we did this. Well, what are we going to do next? That's amazing. And I'm hoping that really leads our community and our businesses and our I don't like to call them vendors either. Get rid of vendors.
Yeah,
They're partners. They're partners.
We just need a whole revamp on the vernacular.
Exactly.
So your wish in that sense would be that people continue to think
Embrace
ahead,
change.
Embrace change.
Don't let it scare you. It's going to happen. Grow from it, learn from it, and adapt to it. Mm-hmm. Adapt to it. I mean, I really thought, listen, when VRBO took my phone number off of my ads, I just panicked.
Right.
They've got to call me.
Yeah.
How are they not going to call me?
Right.
I think everybody in the vacation rental business just kind of thought, what are we going to do? And look what we've done. We've grown.
Yeah.
That's what we're going to do. We're going to grow.
Yeah. And you apply that to as far as my property management software just totally changed the rules on me. What the hell am I going to do?
You're going to adapt. You're going to change. Now, that moment when they took that phone number away, I started getting more relational. I used to say the best guest I never see and I never talk to. They book online, they go to the property, they have a great time, they leave, they write a great review, done. Now I say, hey, I hope everything's going great. I'm going to send you an email about booking through our website, and I'm going to lock in your rate for next year so that, I'm going to give you a return guest discount. It made me create a relationship with my guests that should have been there all along, quite frankly.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a lesson learned.
Yeah.
The best guest is the one that you build a relationship with so they know they can come to you for anything, and they're going to come back to you every time because they know the service is amazing and the vacation home is amazing. So change is growth. It is hard. Growing's hard, but I think it's good.
I like stating it like this is hard for no other purpose than just to get that out there.
Yeah. It is.
Okay, it's hard and I can do it.
We can do it.
We can do it.
We're doing it.
Yeah.
Forget we can do it. We are doing it.
Yeah.
Look at our association. Look
Yeah.
at the growth.
Yeah.
Look at the entire short-term rental business.
Yeah. Look at every independent business who has grown up in front of our eyes.
Exactly. It's been amazing.
This is where the interview comes to a close. And I get to...
I'm so relieved,
Why?
to be honest.
Oh, relieved that it's over?
Because when the giant calls, we think of you as a giant. I don't know
Aw.
if you know that. This will be part of our interview with you, but you're the giant in the industry. So when I woke up that morning, I saw an email from the giant, and it said, "Hey, will you talk to me on my podcast?" I'm going to tell you the truth. I cried. I really did.
Jennifer!
I did. I got teary-eyed. I actually read the first sentence of your email. I went right into our master suite, and I said to my husband, "I have to read you this email." I said, "I've only read one sentence." I started reading your email, and tears just fell. I thought,
Jennifer,
gosh, Matt
you're
wants to
making
talk
me
to me.
cry now.
No, you wanted to talk to me, and I love my story, okay? I love the whole, where we came from, and I love education and change and embracing and advocacy. I never saw myself as a property rights person, right? But now I know that, like, it's so important that I can use my property and for the needs of me or my family, and I have the right to do so. All of these things that have come out of this, I was a teacher, and then I was a mom, and now I'm in love with short-term rentals and vacations and management and families and building memories and serving our board. And so you're the giant. But I'm relieved it's over because I've been so worried about it. But it was nice talking to you. We need to podcast you.
I'm totally happy to be podcasted, and I'm very moved that you responded that way. And I wanted to thank you for coming here and for, of course, more importantly, doing what you do in your local community, in the broader vacation rental community. It is a community comprised of people who don't necessarily see themselves as pioneers, but when you actually sit down and say it out loud, you're like, huh, maybe I am trailblazing here. And for me, you are just a perfect representation of that. So thank you.
No, thank you.
No, thank you.
This is a Jersey thing we're doing right now. Thank you.
I like you, you like me.
So much.
Okay.
It's unbelievable how much I like you.
Jennifer, thank you for being on my podcast.
Thank you.
Hey folks, thanks for listening. I just wanted to remind everyone that this episode was brought to you by Point Central, the home automation experts of our industry. You can head over to pointcentral.com/VRMB, fill out the form, and take a free demo. You'll also get free HVAC analytics, and I can promise you that Sean's team will take great care.